Hello everyone, in this video we will talk about the difference between STDIO and Streamable HTTP. These are the transports which are used by the MCP servers developed using Model Context Protocol. So let's look into the communication method. STDIO uses the operating system's built-in STDIN and STDOut streams, whereas Streamable HTTP uses the standard HTTP protocol for communication over a network. Coming to the server location, the STDIO MCP server runs on the same computer as the client, whereas for Streamable HTTP, MCP server can run on the same machine or a different computer, accessible over a local network or the internet. How it works? The STDIO based MCP server, here the client launches the MCP server as a child process and communicates through OS pipes. There is no networking required here. That is why we don't need any HTTP or any port number to be configured or managed. Whereas for Streamable HTTP based MCP server, they run independently and clients connect to it by sending HTTP requests to its endpoint. It requires network communication using HTTP. So for that reason, it also needs a port number that should be mentioned as part of the URL. Coming to performance, STDIO based MCP server are very fast because communication happens directly between processes using OS pipes, whereas in case of Streamable HTTP, it's slightly more overhead due to the HTTP networking stack, but suitable for remote communication. Streaming support: STDIO supports streaming naturally through STDIN, STDOut, whereas Streamable HTTP based MCP server supports both normal request response and streaming responses over the same HTTP transport. Let's look into the authentication. This is usually handled by the host application since communication is local in the STDIO based MCP servers. Whereas for Streamable HTTP, it supports standard web authentication such as OAuth, API keys, bearer tokens, and other supported authentication methods. Coming to scalability, in case of STDIO, typically one client communicates with one locally launched server, whereas for Streamable HTTP, multiple clients can connect simultaneously, making it suitable for scalable application. STDIO based MCP servers are best for local development, desktop applications, AI assistance, for testing using MCP Inspector, VS Code extensions and Claude desktop. Whereas Streamable HTTP based MCP server are good for cloud hosted MCP server, web applications, enterprise APIs, AI agents, and MCP servers hosted using Docker, Kubernetes, Azure or AWS infrastructure. The advantages of STDIO are its very simple setup, no networking, fast communication, easy debugging. Whereas for Streamable HTTP based MCP server, it needs remote access. It works across machines, integrates with existing web infrastructure, it's easy to scale and requires an HTTP server, network configuration and slightly more setup than STDIO. The limitations for STDIO based MCP server are it only works when the client can launch the server locally. It's not suitable for remote access. Some examples of STDIO based MCP server are file system MCP server, local SQLite server, or local Git repository server. For Streamable HTTP based MCP server, the examples are GitHub MCP server, Google Drive MCP server, Slack MCP server, or any cloud hosted enterprise MCP servers. So when we use FastMCP, how do we say that we are using STDIO or Streamable HTTP? Here when we say mcp.run in the brackets, we have to provide the transport which we are using in the MCP server, here STDIO or Streamable HTTP. Let's see the quick summary of when to choose which transport. We use STDIO when the MCP server runs locally on the same machine. Your client can launch the server as a child process. You want the simplest and fastest setup, and you are building desktop tools or local AI assistants. We choose Streamable HTTP when the MCP server needs to be accessed remotely. The server runs independently in the cloud or on another machine. You need multiple clients, authentication, or internet access. You are building web applications, enterprise services, or distributed AI systems. I hope now you understand clearly the difference between STDIO and Streamable HTTP. If you have any queries or if you have any questions, please put in the comments. Thank you.